Hi, I'm in conversation with Ms. Natasha Kothari, a self-made entrepreneur who runs Studio Ungap. We'll try and understand her journey through this conversation today. So, Natasha, hi.
Hi.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
So, as you mentioned, that I run a company by the name of Studio Ungap, which is a digital marketing agency, full stack digital marketing agency. And in addition to that, I also run Wedding Social, which is a wedding day social media management company, primarily catering to couples and their candid moments. With Ungap, we've been active for 4 years, and we have about 35 plus clients. Portfolio is quite diverse. We've worked with the likes of Tata, Sequoia, Reliance, as well as a lot of small to medium-sized businesses as well. We have a team of 35 based in Bombay, and Wedding Social is based in Bombay as well.
So, how did the idea of entrepreneurship strike you?
So I think it was a very do or die situation for me. I had quit my job and didn't have a backup option. The only skill set that I did have was media and communication. So capitalizing on that and understanding that the need of the hour, at the time the boom was of social media. So combining that, combining certain situational factors where the requirement was such, and my background of working at Humans of Bombay, that gave me the opportunity to do social media for a very small client. And that opened a lot of doorways. Things just worked out from there on.
So, what were some of the challenges that you faced along this route?
So most definitely, I think the biggest challenge was learning how to scale. It was not like a mom and pop business anymore, but more like a proper boutique agency with some sort of corporate culture or corporate structure to it rather. Scalability is something that requires a lot of time, effort, resources, planning, strategizing your resources. That's A. B is financial planning. We are completely bootstrapped with no external investment. So within the means of being bootstrapped, growing is another challenge. And of course, another layer is people management, which includes your clients, your employees, because a lot of the work that you do is depending on your team. As well as a lot of the work that you can do depends on your clients. So managing that, I think these three were the top challenges that I faced in scaling up.
Talking of employees, you seem to have a lot of female employees in your organization.
Yes.
So how did that happen? Is that by design?
No, not by design at all. There's no gender biasness here. It just so happened that in this field in general, I do see a lot of social media marketing does have more women than men in general, is what I have seen, which may be right or wrong. It has just happened by default that we've generally, had, even right from the interview stage and the application stage, we've had more women. So when it comes to the finalization selection process, it just sort of narrows down even further. But we would love to have equal organization.
Okay. Along your journey, what do you consider as a breakthrough moment or a breakthrough period?
So most definitely, I think working with top tier organizations like Tata and Sequoia was a breakthrough moment for us because that propelled us into another league.
When did that happen?
That happened in the year 2021 and 2022. Tata happened first and then followed by Sequoia. So that was within a year and 2 years of starting the business. So for us to kind of get out of the zone of just doing smaller businesses and have people look at us as real players in the field, it took that big of a project, and that changed the game for us and gave us the breakthrough of being able to charge a certain amount for our services, being able to put ourselves in parallel to other fellow competitors as well. So I think that truly helped us.
Right. So you have worked with both types of clients, big and small, the ones you mentioned, big ones and some smaller ones. So working with which clients has given you the most satisfaction, do you think?
So I think it would be unfair to pick from them. We also work with a government organization, MMRDA, that looks after Mumbai Metro and Monorail. Working with them obviously is a very gratifying experience because you are, the city that you've been born and brought up in, the city that's given you everything, you're giving back in a way. Right. So that's gratifying in its own sense. And of course, you feel validated while working with such established organizations. Having said that, when you work with smaller businesses, a lot of their sales and a lot of their profit is dependent on how much they market it on social media. So shouldering that responsibility with them and helping them achieve that goal is another satisfaction in itself.
So it's different kinds of satisfaction, maybe.
Yes, absolutely. It's different kinds of satisfaction and experiences, but both equally gratifying.
Okay, so you've worked now for companies like Tata Administrative Service and Sequoia Capital and so on, and a few other big brands as well. So any experiences from any of these that you would like to share?
So, I mean, in particular to our learning, we've realized like over a period of time when you're a boutique agency, you don't have access to certain kind of resources.
Yeah.
But when you work with these corporates, so to speak, it gives you a lot of exposure on how streamlining processes work, the different kind of demarcation of resources that they have. So you learn a lot from them that you can imbibe in your own organization. So that would be like one primary learning. And of course, the fact that their perspective on marketing and the way the results that we're able to achieve because of the stature that they have, that also has been one major factor.
Any inspiration that you have for starting this business? Any other entrepreneurs that you look up to, etc.?
So I love reading about different entrepreneurs and their autobiographies, or just listening to podcasts in general about their processes and perspectives. One such, I think, was a video of Mukesh Ambani that I had seen, where he mentioned that you can only truly be successful in a business if you feel genuinely that there's a problem that needs solving. And I realized that my love for social media is not just come out of nowhere, but it's because I feel like it's a medium through which I can express things and help others express that, whether it's to sell their products, tell their story, whatever the objective might be. So I think that was sort of my biggest drive, that I'm being able to help people translate, because social media is a very largely misunderstood or not very well understood medium for a lot of people. So to be that mediator between the two and bridge the gap, hence the name Ungap, was something that I thoroughly enjoyed doing and felt very, very passionately about. And obviously we saw the results and we saw the response, and that motivates us even more.
So you talked of problems and the need to solve those problems, which creates a business.
Yes.
So in the other business that you talked of, wedding social, what was the problem as you perceived it, or how would you define that?
So with Wedding Social, the problem was that we hire videographers and photographers and pay them lakhs of rupees. They tend to capture your star moments. So the moment where you are in the fairas, your varmala or your bridal reveal, groom reveal, etc. What they are not able to do is capture candid moments. Moments where, for example, the bride and groom are talking to each other before the fairas about how this is the last time they're going to be fiancés to each other and are now husband and wife. So those moments in between the star moments that are candid and people want to kind of remember that, store that, talk about that. We initially we understood that gap and captured that gap, which photographers and videographers were not essentially able to provide.
The pre-wedding shoots were not doing that.
Pre-wedding shoots we don't get into.
Okay.
But we definitely help them with like hashtags and sharing bits and pieces. So one of our couples have gone very massively viral and have decided to they've got a lot of brand collaborations. They've earned a lot of money via the page, and they've now decided to make their page a blog in itself. So it's, the way that people are liking the entire concept has also validated it even.
I understand a lot of your clients have stuck with you for several years.
Yes.
So why do you think that has happened? Any particular reason that you can identify?
So most definitely it's because of the relationship building we have with the client. From the list of goals that we have internally as a team, the number one goal is to keep the client updated at all times. It sounds like a very simple thing, but it contributes a lot to the client believing that the team is always 2 steps forward. We're always thinking about the client, thinking about the goal and the reason why we are hired, and it's very, very important to us. That validation to a client, you can't put a price on it. It really is important to them. That is number one. Number two is, again, making sure that we're very transparent about everything that we do. So a lot of times what happens is things get lost in translations and clients feel like they're not getting as much as they've paid for, which is a very common thing, especially in our industry. But being 100% transparent, being open to feedback, something I'm still struggling with, but being open to feedback, understanding where they're coming from and focusing on relationship building is the primary factor.
So Natasha, if you had to describe your journey so far in stages, what would they be and what happened at each stage?
Okay, so effectively when we started Ungap, the first 8 to 9 months, which we can call stage 1, was primarily me trying to figure out what exactly do we want to set as our niche. I always say every digital marketing agency has a niche and a specialization, whether they may admit it or not. That's just by default how the industry design is. So the idea was to just find our niche and find our footing. We were still pretty much on the stage of experimenting with less than 5 employees and less than 5 clients as well. Figuring out how to, hold our own. After that is when, closer to when we got to work with Tata is when stage 2 kind of started, where from 5 we went to 10 clients, primarily through word of mouth, and employee team grew as well. Of course, what you really don't envision when you grow is that you have to also work around the resources, you have to work around the demand-supply problem, how to effectively sort that, as well as learn how to be omnipresent as an entrepreneur effectively. So that sort of constituted of stage 2. A lot of learning happened there, that this is not sort of like a mom and pop thing anymore. We're looking at making a full-fledged boutique agency with, goals, with certain, things we want to achieve.
You also did not have an office to start with?
We did not have an office at that time, yes. I started this business from the 4 walls of my bedroom and graduated to co-working spaces. From there, graduated to renting spaces. And now, obviously, we have our own office after, I think, 3 years, actually. It's been a year since we have the office, which is also a huge step for us. Which this entire office episode happened in the stage 3 of the business, when we finally realized that, we've sort of arrived, so to speak, and had a good steady income with, 20 to 25 clients, employees who were full-time. We had a lot of part-time employees earlier on, and now we don't have anyone part-time. Everyone is full-time with us. So that's sort of what happened in stage 3. In there, the setbacks, so to speak, or challenges would be, again, now risk management, risk analysis, to be able to understand how to predict what's going to happen in the future and plan for that in advance, whether the demand will increase, the demand will decrease. And
did COVID play any role in all of this?
So COVID is, bang in the middle of COVID is when we started Ungap. So it definitely played a large role in the sense that it propagated the digital boom, and that worked in our favor. Since more and more people went online, more and more businesses went online, people wanted to be there. People didn't want to miss out on the COVID boom and promoting their product, and that worked out for us very well.
The work from home trend also caught on.
Yes. Work from home trend caught on, and now a lot of businesses are moving away from it. A lot of employees want to also not work from home but work from office. But for some reason, for me, of course, we do have an office and we do work from office quite often, but I keep that flexibility for every employee to be able to work from anywhere that they'd like.
So some of them are actually in different cities, right?
Yes, some of them are in different cities spread across India. Delhi, Bangalore, somewhere in the south also. We have Northeast as well, and then obviously we have Bombay. I would say about 30 to 40% are based in Bombay, and those of us who are based in Bombay work from home.
I've always been curious about one thing. I'm not an entrepreneur, so you would be able to answer this. Is handling customers more difficult or handling employees?
So I won't be diplomatic this time. I'll give a direct answer. It is more difficult managing employees than managing clients, primarily because with employees you put in a lot of heart and soul to train them. And to just kind of imbibe the culture within them, and a lot of effort is put into getting them to perform in a certain way. With clients, of course, you put in a lot of effort, you put in a lot of your time, energy, resources, but you know that there's always an end to it. No client is going to be with one digital marketing agency for a long time.
Ever.
That's not how the industry works. So you kind of expect it. Of course, having said that, you don't expect employees to stay with you forever. But because you're so heavily involved in training them, it does become more difficult. And obviously in general day-to-day management, with clients it's more transactional, with employees it's much more personal to some extent, unless of course there's a different equation. So definitely I would say that managing employees is a harder challenge than managing clients.
Okay, you've been doing it pretty well, I can see.
Thank you.
So one lesson that I can add based on your story that I've read and heard is that an MBA is not essential to be a successful entrepreneur.
Yes.
What would you say?
Yes, I mean, obviously, sitting in a university, I can't completely, say that. But none of my employees or me myself, I don't have a formal education in marketing. I have done a diploma of sorts in psychology. That's apart from a bachelor's. So I don't have a formal degree, and we generally don't. Of course, it's an add-on, but we generally look for people who have a lot more experience-driven rather than their on-paper degree. So yeah, I think someone who's more well-rounded is more suitable rather than someone who just has an academic degree, for sure.
Right. Okay, so all things considered, how does the future look for your business, or both the businesses actually?
Wedding Social seems pretty much on track. With the demand for it and the awareness about our service growing. With Ungap, definitely, as social media, everything keeps changing, everything keeps transforming. So we do perceive that AI and ML will play a huge role in changing marketing, a lot of data-driven growth marketing, etc. happening. I can't quantify or put it in words as to what exactly will change, but there's definitely a huge change oncoming. Where there will be less and less importance given to Instagram, less and less importance given to performance marketing. But yeah, let's see where the road takes us.
Okay. Any closing thoughts that you have, maybe advice to budding entrepreneurs or anyone in particular?
So definitely in terms of advice to entrepreneurs, the number one thing that I say is that no matter what field you're doing or field you're in or what you're doing, your consistency is key. If you're consistently at something, of course, trial and error is important. Failure is important in order to succeed. Through all of those challenges, if you understand your lessons, you learn your lessons and you're consistent, then there's nothing that's stopping you from achieving exactly what you want. I've seen and read about multiple entrepreneurs, and I can with confidence say that each of them are only one thing in common, which is consistency. And that's what I keep telling myself, that even when I'm having good days or bad days at work, or even when things are not working out the way we plan for it, if you're consistent, everything will square itself off.